Here we are, part one, mental health. Let's find a way to help you create stability within the mental chaos of life. The definition of equilibrium is there on that slide, but it doesn't mean that there's only ever balance and peace once you find that equilibrium. No, that would be unrealistic. But it is a state of mind. It's a state of mind you can create, a place that you can go, because when the crazy comes, and you know it will, you'll have already created this space. It will be a place you can go to balance out that crazy instead of getting overwhelmed and succumbing to it. This is my friend. Okay, just a quick story. Imagine this. I'm standing in the middle of my family room. I have my three kids standing all around me, like I'm a maypole, all talking to me at the same time, all making demands, or yelling, or crying, trying to tell me about a hurt, or showing me something they made, or telling me who did what, all talking over each other. Now, when I've had enough, I tell them, "You're stirring my crazy pot!" And I make a funny face, and I take my make believe spoon and stir it over the top of my brain. Now, this gets them to stop and do a couple things, knowing that I'm telling them that they are driving me to a breaking point, and I'm trying to tell them in a funny way to stop what they're doing. It always gets a giggle out of my 3-year-old. I guess I look pretty funny when I do it. But it's a warning to them to get them to stop, but in a nice way. So, the moral is when you feel overwhelmed or upset by someone or something, people around you, whatever it is, do something unexpected, even if you feel silly. It'll get them to stop their behavior and quickly reflect on the situation. Then you can diffuse with laughter or change the subject. In this picture, how do you feel? Chaos? Maybe you see beauty, feel inspiration, or maybe it makes you feel fear. Perhaps it's a mixture of some different emotions. In every situation, your chaos conductors will not be your neighbor's chaos conductors. So you have to determine what your chaos conductors are first before you can figure out a way around them or through them. There are as many different chaos conductors as there are people and personalities. I've attached a worksheet for you to print out and use when you're ready to delve into your own chaos conductors. These are some of mine. I love my children so much. In fact, so much, I dedicated every waking and sleeping moment to them for many years until I realized that I was severely lacking in self care. Now, unless your children are perfect angels at home, they create chaos and messes. It's my chaos conductor. I also need a purpose in my life that is outside of my home, my children, my husband, something that is just for me. Without this, I feel like I'm drifting. When I lost my job to COVID, that is exactly what happened to me. I need a purpose outside of my personal life. And I like everything to have a place, but more importantly, I like the things to be in their place. I find that when too many things are not in their designated place, my crazy starts to stir. If you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always gotten. I probably have heard that before. Another famous quote that relates to what we're talking about is the definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So if you're just going through life, pummeling through chaos, it's never going to change unless you change the way you look at it, you change the way you go about handling that chaos. I hope the reason that you're here is because you want to and are ready to change the path you're on. To create a new path, though, you have to be willing to change your mindset, create new pathways of thinking. Otherwise, you stay on those mental pathways over and over, always getting the same result. Okay, personal story time. After a regular school day, I picked up my three kids from gymnastics class. Tired, sweaty, hungry. I know, great combination at the end of the day for kids, but knowing that we had 30 minutes to get home, change, grab a snack, and get back into the car because we had to go to Grandma and Grandpa's for a family function, I was telling the kids what the situation was. Told them what I expected of them and told them that Daddy would be waiting and that they had to hurry along. What I didn't know was that the time frame for being at Grandma and Grandpa's had been pushed up to now. So the minute we got home, Daddy was standing in the driveway, already on edge, waiting for us. Now, looking at him, I instinctively knew that he was anxious to leave because other people were already waiting on us. And as the kids jumped out of the car, I told my husband that the kids wanted to grab a snack and change. However, that did not go over very well. It didn't fit into his newly pushed up time frame. Needless to say, the situation spiraled into anger on both sides of the adults and tears on the side of the kids from the anger between the adults. Once all the kids were back in the car, I turned around from the front seat, anger spilling out of my heart. And all I saw and heard were tears and exhaustion. I immediately started to laugh, cry. The whole situation had become so absolutely ludicrous and sad all at the same time. So I pulled my kids out of the car while they were wailing in sad confusion. I took them into the house and I calmly told my husband to just go ahead without us. I snuggled the babies until they calmed down. I comforted my kids the only way I could. I sat with them and held them until all the emotions were at a reasonable place, and then a conversation happened about what had occurred. So chaos can happen even if you are being mindful, and that's okay. You can always try again tomorrow. I hope you've had some time to identify your own chaos conductors. Think about them. Now, let's try to create some equilibrium. I just gave you a situation that I had recently been in. Now think of one where you felt your chaos conductors just spiraled out of control. These steps listed on the left-hand side will help you mindfully process your own chaos. I've attached a worksheet that you can print out and keep in a place accessible to help you learn this process. All right, I just threw a ton of information at you, but this is what you're going to do. Make use of the attachments. Don't give up. If this seems overwhelming, that's okay, that's normal. Just pick one thing to implement. Get that under your belt, comfortable with it, then add another, and so on. All right. Be mindful of the situation. Acknowledge whatever is happening. Remove yourself from the ensuing emotions. If you can, stop or slow the chaos. Figure out what you do have control over. If nothing else, it will always be how you choose to act. And then involve anyone in the situation into the solution. All right. So, in part 2, we're going to discuss some self-care, specifically what you need in your life. So, when you're ready, join us in part 2.